Hello everyone, I'm back. It's 6:43 p.m. in the evening. Well, I might as well try to do this video while I have the opportunity. And I got the spare time. My brain is my mind feels kind of scattered or fragmented right now. I'm not fully alert or well rested. Um but this video I mean I wanted to talk about the challenges that I have with my disability. Well, I have multiple disabilities, but with my OCD and Tourette's and the gang stalking, excuse me, and the my noise and hypersensitivity. I mean issues. With my hypersensitive ears and everything. You know the challenges with being gang stalked and bullied on transit buses by both the passengers and the drivers. So, each I guess so for like the main buses that I take is the West Bank Jefferson Parish buses, and I'm mainly on that side of the river. It's easier and more convenient, and that's what I'm used to. That's what I grew up around and everything. I find that Jefferson Parish is more peaceful and more quiet, or or seems safer than Orleans Parish. Um, so like in Orleans Parish, everything's dirtier. Even though they got certain dirty places in Gretna, I'd be surprised. At certain dirty restaurants or with dirty bathrooms or whatever. But I was born in New Orleans in the Seventh Ward, but got taken away from the biological family and put in foster care. And then after that, in foster care, grew up in Gretna all my childhood with the foster care. So, you know, I'm disappointed because I thought I would love Metairie, but it turns out that, and I felt like, well, not always, but for a long time, I felt like I wanted to see what it was like to live in Metairie or be a Metairie resident. Excuse me. When I had the Section 8 housing, I tried so hard to get a, a place in Metairie, but the Section 8 people had never answered their phones. The landlords and stuff never answered their phones, and I was disappointed. So Metairie, I mean, my thoughts and expectations about Metairie, I'm quite disappointed and hurt. But I guess the closest I got to that experience is, staying at Sleep Inn Hotel or something, um, or whatever other hotel or motel in Metairie. But I realized that Airline Highway seems like more dangerous and more hood, or it doesn't seem as safe on Airline Highway, you know. But but like if I were to go to the main library from downtown New Orleans to go to the main library in Metairie, I would have to take two buses, and that's like a pain in the ass. But from downtown, being homeless on the streets, I could take one bus, and that could take me to any of three libraries. But if I were to go to the Terrytown Library, that would require two buses. You know, but there are three libraries where I could take just one bus from downtown. You know, and so um, the Gretna police is, and me being wrongfully banned from mainly those, Gretna hotels and motels mainly is the reason why I don't have the opportunity, excuse me, to get to be in Gretna that much, and me being like, dealing with the fake Gretna police being tyrants and abusers and stuff. That's why you know, that's why I've been going to Harvey more. The stalkers illegally already know that. So, but when I ride the buses, um, and no matter what city and state, I would have to deal with, the gang stalking, with the bus drivers and passengers, and it's very challenging to ride the bus when you have OCD and Tourette's and, you know, freak and complex PTSD after dealing with being raped and stuff. And you know, the I mean, if I can have things where I can earn my own money to be able to get my own car, my own vehicle, or raise enough funds from donations to get a vehicle to live in, working or whatever, and you know, earn my own money. I'm pretty sure there would be problems too, but ain't nothing like freedom of your own, like with your own and stuff. You know how people say ain't nothing like your own. So like if you drive your own car, you have and you got enough gas money, insurance, maintenance, everything fixed up, whatever. Nothing really can stop you from going, and you got your license and everything. Nothing really can stop you from getting up and going where you want, anytime you want, as far as you want, you know. But if you're targeted, I've had it happen to me when I used to have a car, even before Hurricane Katrina. Me driving somewhere and dealing with perps trying to hog up the road or try to do stuff like box you in and won't let you get off at your exit off the interstate that you need to get off at and stuff like that. And then an abusive narc that's in the car with you while you're driving, they blame it on you and falsely accuse you of being the stingy one, or think they falsely accuse you of being the one that's hogging up the road and trying to say you're not driving just for you. You're driving for everybody on the road. I'm like, but I need to get off on the exit, and they're not letting me get off. They're not slowing down and letting me get off. When I got my blinkers on, I'm signaling to, exit right to get off on the interstate, So, excuse me. So, I mean, and dealing with gang stalkers trying to run you off the road, or they don't care if you driving out in the mountains and they try to run you off the cliff, and trying to make it like you're in their way. So when you drive your own car and being targeted, they have their challenges too, but ain't nothing like your own and having your own freedom and stuff. But the stalkers want you to be as enslaved as possible. They don't want me driving. They don't want me with a car. And certain other TIs say the same thing. Not all of them, but certain targeted individuals have mentioned that their that if their vehicles get vandalized or compromised, or something, if the stalkers will do something harmful to your vehicle on purpose so that you can't go to work the next morning, or they force it to where they secretly break your car up slowly and systematically to where you have to be forced to have to pay way more for repairs. You know, so and they make our lives way more expensive for us being targeted. They force our lives to be more expensive, and they get mad at us for not conforming, but then we're forced to have to live unconventional lives, right? I mean, lives that are not normal. And they make everything way more expensive for us. So, so yeah, if they try to tamper with your vehicle on purpose, so you have to be forced to pay more for repairs, and keep getting exploited and screwed over and taken advantage of by fake gang stalking mechanics that you pay them to get the car fixed, and then they take your money and break your car even worse. I've had those experiences. And then I get victim blamed, you know. So those have their own challenges, you know. But thankfully I can have some Uber rides that can be peaceful. Or, you know, cab rides seem like they're way more expensive than Uber. And people are saying that Lyft is if cheaper than Uber. But for some reason, no matter what email or bank account I use, they just, I don't know why I'm hindered from signing up on a Lyft app for some reason. So, but lately the gang stalking on the buses is bad enough, excuse me, to where they try to prevent me from riding the buses. Or, you know, so even I'm considered a so-called problem on the bus, even though I'm not sanitizing and spraying. So first of all, standing at the bus stop, I have to deal with certain gang stalkers that's gonna either smoke weed or cigarettes around me. And that'd be frustrating. And and heaven forbid if it's freaking raining cats and dogs and they have that small little um bus seating area with the shelter overhead that still does not really protect you much. And excuse me, everybody's trying to fight for the space underneath the shelter of the little bus thing, and they have someone come right by me and try to light up, and I was there sitting there waiting on the bus for 30 minutes, and then you come right by me and then light up a cigarette and then trying to manipulate for me to have to be the one to move and get away and go get wet in the rain, you know. So speaking of that, it's gonna rain all day tomorrow and have like higher amount of thunderstorms. You know, originally I was supposed to have used the funds to straight up pack up and then go leave and take the Uber to the library. But those funds I took and got, you know, food to eat to stretch me between now and tomorrow morning. You know, and I have enough funds for one more meal. You know, so um so yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's supposed to rain kind of bad, and I would have to take like two. Well, I guess I would have to take two buses to get to the excuse me, two buses to get to the library. Out in the while it's raining cats and dogs. You know, raining really bad. It's supposed to be storming tomorrow during all day. You know, so Well, I don't know if anyone could help me with another hotel night or an Uber ride, or if I just go and suffer and struggle out in the storm and rain and the bad weather, you know. But anyway, so Orleans Parish and East Bank of Jefferson Parish, most buses don't have where this annoying, like on the West Bank buses, they have this annoying, where they tie a small black trash bag, or they have a set of trash bags where people put like like after they swipe their card for like the bus fare, and then they put it in a trash bag. I hate that everybody passes by it and touches it, and the trash bag is sticking out. So with my OCD, um, it's a challenge for me to get on the bus and try to not bump into the sticking out little trash bag, you know. And I've had it happen to me in Pensacola, Florida, and also Los Angeles, California. Well, at least the bus drivers here in New Orleans, if they rush me to get on the bus, at least they speed and drive fast. But excuse me, I've had for them to rush me, gang stalking perp bus drivers that will rush me. One thing, a narcissistic abuser, they love to rush you unnecessarily for no reason, on purpose, just to cause you panic attacks. I knew from foster care experiences. The foster stepdad used to rush us unnecessarily for no reason at all. So I mean, the gang stalking bus drivers in Los Angeles would do stuff like rush you to get on the bus and then drive extremely slow. And I didn't understand, but lately here in New Orleans, I mean, I had to deal with the bus drivers that get an attitude with me, and I am the only one that they rush to get on the bus and try to make me hurry up and get on the bus, and I'm disabled. They get an attitude, and I'm the only one that they rush to get on the bus, while everybody else, they can take their, and I have, like, what are you rushing me for? And I have everything prepared. I even have my, and sometimes, if my screen might accidentally show something different and I didn't realize it, the bus drivers would get a real harsh, mean, angry attitude towards me. If the screen is accidentally showing different when I meant to show them my card, I mean, my bus pass on my phone. But the thing is, there are certain locations where I could be at and have my phone thing printed out. I mean, I'm sorry, my phone thing my pass on my phone, and the Wi-Fi, I'm sorry, not Wi-Fi, my phone data connection. Like, if I'm by the New Orleans downtown main library, if I get on the bus at that spot, it takes an eternity, or it takes forever for my bus pass to load, because the internet connection does not work great over there. So, but mostly anywhere else, I have my pass ready to show the driver. And so, like, throughout 2023, and all the way from like October 2023 all the way through like late June of 2024, I'm riding the Jefferson Transit buses almost every day to the library. I mean, after being wrongfully banned from the airport, and then I thought I was banned from the Riverwalk at first and stopped going, and then started going to the library where it's more quiet and everything. And like the bus driver said none of the bus drivers and none of the passengers ever complained for like at least 8 months. And even with the Orleans parish, like with the airport bus, before I got wrongfully banned from the airport, the bus driver waited like 2.5 to 3 months to when I would sit directly behind him and I would sanitize and spray the bus driver never complained. And he just waited till a random day to say something. And then me and him got into an argument. I put him on film. He even called the police and was trying to have me wrongfully arrested. I'm like, look at how dirty the bus seats are. Excuse me, even if the buses are kind of new. You know, and so with me being forced homeless and can't get a shower anywhere and suffering OCD, it really does something to me mentally, to be, you know, but I mean, they've had moments where it'd be the streetcar operators or even, not so much the regular buses with the New Orleans RTA, but the streetcar operators throw big fake tantrums, excuse me, and threaten to wrongfully ban me from riding a streetcar. And I try to tell them I have OCD, and they're low class, ignorant, and ghetto, and don't even care. It got reprobate minds, low class, ignorant, ghetto, and uneducated, and I'm not even out here trying to bother people or commit a crime or whatever. It just helps release the anxiety if I can sanitize and spray and clean the seats off, disinfect the seats. If they have people to put luggage on the seat that came off the dirty floor, or put their feet and shoes in the seat, or if they got people that are dirty and homeless and pissy and shitty, and they sit on a seat, and then the next bus ride, you gotta sit there, or somebody might be bed bug infested, or this or that, or whatever, But, that's how I know it's part of the gang stalking, because nobody said anything for like 6 to 8 months, and suddenly somebody got a problem with it. Just looking for something to pick with, I filmed and recorded the incident where the bus driver wouldn't let me on the bus because she let a passenger dictate that I should be not allowed on the bus, and the bus driver threatened to wrongfully permanently ban me from riding all Jefferson Parish buses forever. And then she be rude sometimes, and one time she was so rude to another passenger had to cuss her out and threaten her, and she backed down and was submissive and scared. But that didn't stop her from being an asshole towards me, but so, and for the Metairie buses, it was the one white female bus driver, is the only bus driver that would complain about me sanitizing and spraying down the seats and stuff, So when I saw that bus driver that tried to wrongfully ban me, it was the end of June in 2024, last year. And then I saw her like a week or so later, and I tried to explain to her, and she pretended like she fake understood. And then she said, "Oh, why don't you put down a bag or something?" And then she tried to say that the passengers thought I was trying to be a terrorist, and that they thought I was going to be a terrorist and light something up. Well, I had an incident in Los Angeles where a bus driver, it was a black female bus driver that falsely accused me of trying to be a terrorist and blow something up. And I'm like, I don't have, like, what can I blow up if I don't even have matches? I don't have a lighter or anything like that. I mean, and if people have a problem, they have windows that they can open. But when they have actual rules about no eating, no drinking, no smoking, no loud music, and the bus drivers don't say anything if other people eat or drink on the bus, or if they blast loud music. Only on rare occasions the bus drivers would tell the passengers, turn the music down or whatever. And the passengers don't listen. The bus drivers have to keep telling them, repeatedly. So I don't eat on the bus or anything like that. But if I do, I would be the first and the main one to get kicked off. But the bus drivers, who handpick who to enforce rules on, and they choose a lot of the favoritism. I could have sworn that there were signs on the bus to say that you cannot stand past the yellow line. And a pet peeve of mine is when people, big or small, standing at the front of the bus and kissing the bus driver's ass, talking to the bus driver. And those are the people who try to be friendly with the bus driver, and they're above the rules and above the law because the bus driver is friends with them. And so some of those perk passengers, they talk to the bus driver while the bus driver is driving. And I get on the bus, and the bus driver get an attitude with me and rush me. And they refuse to move out of my way or move back. And they force me to have to squeeze through and touch and bump into them. In which I don't want to bump into or touch nobody or any against any walls, anything. With me not wanting to touch anything. So it's a hard challenge to be forced to have to spend more money. In addition to the rubbing alcohol, I have to buy trash bags now. And use a trash bag and now gloves to trash bag and gloves to put down on the seat. And another challenging thing is the perk passengers, they get in the bus driver's head and tell the bus driver, excuse me, they make my nose itch. They tell the bus driver what to think about me and how to treat me. And if the bus driver's choosing favoritism and they're fake friendly, and sometimes the passengers be the chief narc while they manipulate the whole bus against you to gang up on and bully you. And even the bus drivers will act like a flying monkey, or sometimes the bus driver will be the chief narcissist and manipulate the whole bus to hate you or go against you or gang up on you or bully you during the whole bus ride. So they have a new fake crusty perk bus driver that's been acting an arrogant asshole. I saw when he was new back in probably somewhere between October and December. And he's a new bus driver who acts like he delusionally believes he's a fucking veteran. And he been, illegally driving the fucking Lapalco bus. And I guess when the first few times I rode the bus with him, he was fine, but it wasn't until the past couple of weeks or the past month or so, he started to unnecessarily rush me to get on the bus and nobody else. And he been doing stuff like putting me in predicaments where people are forced to bump into and touch me, or a wheelchair gets on the bus, they have an empty row on the other side. He forced me to get up and just, and then act like he thinks he's punking and pimping me around and think he's cool, and for me to have a freaking meltdown that I just bumped into my whole body bumped into so many different things on the bus trying to move to the back. Because the aisles are the aisle is freaking narrow on certain buses, So it seemed like he just wanted to give me a hard time and bully me, and when he could have, he made me move out of the seat rather than going on the other side and putting the wheelchair on the other side. So when I get on the bus, and it's mainly sometimes the West Bank, but it's mainly the Lapalco bus. And there's this one white lady that does it on the East Bank Jefferson Parish buses. She's a very short, like a midget. Now she would kiss the bus driver's ass and talk to them and refuse to move out of my way. And me and her get into heated altercations and cussing each other out and everything. And she's like a satanic perp that won't move out my fucking way. You know, it's like, and then they sometimes go sit down when they feel like it. But it's like they stand, and it's like the men, it's like they stand up at the front of the bus, kissing the female bus driver's ass, you know, trying to hit on her and trying to make sexual advances and trying to hoe fuck, trying to flirt. Like when I say hoe fuck, you know, to be a hoe fucker, yeah, you trying to flirt at her, you know. That's a term I created during my teenage years. But anyway, yeah. So he would try to hoe fuck with the fake slutty ghetto perp bus drivers, kissing the female bus driver's ass and standing and refuse to move out of my way. And you a tall, big guy that's like 500-600 pounds and 6 feet 6 feet 6 inches tall, excuse me, and like 500 pounds. And you in the skinny little aisles. I'm short and big, and I mean, if I had a way to lose weight, I would. But due to my forced homelessness and can't eat healthy the way I want, you know, and can't get to live a normal life. I mean, I would get to. I mean, if I could get. I mean, I wish I could get to, you know, be thin and you know. But anyway, but it's like they refuse to move out of my way, and I have to get into like me trying to move. I mean, they have the trash bag that's in my way that everybody bumps into, and it's a challenge for me to try to not bump into that trash bag. And then I get on the bus, and the bus driver straight up pull off. In Pensacola, I used to put down the trash bag for the bus. And most bus drivers would patiently wait for me to put down the trash bag, and let me put down the trash bag comfortably and properly, and then sit down. And then they pull off. Except one bus driver that I had an issue with, she was way younger than me, and me and her got into a heated argument, and she was trying to get me wrongfully kicked off and permanently banned from riding the bus around the time I tried a cab driving job in 2022. And I think I filmed and recorded that incident. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I've been driving for ECAT for 10 years. Motherfucker, your ass is new. Stop lying. You're a new bus driver and a perp, and you've been a problem since day one." Like the fake Bridget, the masculine lesbian Bridget Lowry from Pensacola. At first, she used to be, you know, nice and everything, but after a while, after some time, they turned her into a vicious, wicked ass perp. And she admitted that she didn't believe in God, you know. But she would do stuff like jerk the bus on purpose to set me up to slip and fall. Or she would rush me to hurry up and hold on to the, it's like, with me being disabled, I had 2 strokes when I was 5. Most of the time when I get on the bus, I could get on the bus like normal, and the bus drivers they put down kneel the bus, you know. But sometimes when I got to get on the bus, they have certain bus drivers that they recently started doing this, recent perp tactic that they started at least back in October, that they refuse to kneel the bus or all the way and force me to have to struggle with all my belongings to step up high to get on the bus. with my legs swelling and hurting, and then they lie and say that that's the lowest it could go, and they act like they don't want to kneel the bus when they kneel the bus for everybody else, you know. So with my legs swelling and me having a lot of stuff, and being disabled and everything, you know, the bus drivers, sometimes certain drivers refuse to kneel the bus and force me to struggle to get on the bus. And then they refuse to wait for me to put the trash bag down. And I'm sitting here struggling while they speed and take off. And in hopes that they can set me up to fall or be unsafe, or they get an attitude and rush me to sit down while I'm trying to put down the trash bag. And for me to, while the bus is in motion, while they're illegally driving the freaking bus, it's like they're not even careful or considerate about my disability. They just, excuse me, the passengers manipulated the bus drivers to falsely believe that I just have selective craziness. Now I'm just crazy and entitled. And I'm just crazy and entitled and stuff, So, it's a struggle with trying not to fall or bump into things while getting on the bus and trying to neatly put down the trash bag, and it seems like I got to rush to do it, and then I end up feeling violated and tainted and can't even sit in a way that I feel comfortable, and then it's really challenging for me to have to rush to put down the seat. Put down the trash bag on the seat. And I miss when I used to be able to sanitize and spray the seat, and then spray and sanitize my hands and nobody say anything, and I just sit down and everybody's fine. And I was able to hold on to the seat while I with one hand and hold on, and then spray and sanitize with the other, and then spray the hand that got dirty, and then sit down, and nobody said anything for months. And so now I've been trying to use like gloves and trash bags to try to protect myself. Like recently they had a homeless person that was dirty and extremely dirty, and I forgot what they smelled like, and they were sleeping on the bus. And then another challenge is people getting on the bus and not caring that they bump into and touch me on my backpack, or they don't, and like, you got all that space over there and still bump into me, and you don't even try to have any effort to move out of my way. But people who are narcissists themselves will try to use projection and falsely make it like as if I'm the one that's narcissist and entitled and want the world to revolve around me, or want everybody to cater to me. It's like when I was in foster care, the foster mom used to say that she's abusive and narcissistic. And it's like it's always from a narcissist's mouth that they would be the ones to tell me, you think the world revolves around you, or nobody's going to cater to you. Well, okay, if another person had a disability, I would have to be told to respect their disability. But they think that I'm just a crazy person who just wants to be entitled. And so they bump into me on purpose. And don't give a fuck, don't care. And it's like, then I have to get off the bus. And spray and sanitize like every spot of my backpack and every spot of my other bag and every spot of my jacket, all my pants. Sometimes, my hands definitely. And it's like, it seems like people kick back and think it's funny to watch me get angry at them touching me so that they can laugh at me sanitizing myself so that they can make like, oh, she look goofy, she look crazy. And then I have to be forced to unnecessarily waste more rubbing alcohol because you didn't have to fucking touch me. You did that shit on purpose, intentionally and maliciously. When you had all that space over there. And then ever since Mardi Gras, or maybe slightly before then, maybe no, it was since the Super Bowl, or somewhere around there, I've been having to deal with walking downtown, and people have all that space over there, and they come and walk into me and bump into me on purpose, and it's like, are y'all fucking zombies, or what the hell is going on here? I'd be wondering if they're zombies or something. So, thanks for letting me vent about this. I think I covered everything. I hope I didn't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. If I would have wrote about this in a blog, it probably would have took me all day long. So that's why I did a video, and the video took longer than I intended or expected. But I'm glad I was able to vent about this topic. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm missing a situation. But I think I covered everything to talk about with the buses and everything, and dealing with perps that either put their feet in shoes in the seats. Well, it's rare here in New Orleans, but it was a common thing in Los Angeles. Or perps that will blast loud music on the bus, and the bus drivers don't say anything. But, but they have people that spray body sprays and perfume on the bus, and the bus driver don't say nothing. But I think it's like a perp that just want to, just like when I was at Landry Seafood, I was spray and sanitize all the time. And the man was a new manager who was brainwashed by that black guy that was the darker form of light skin. He was kind of new, and he called himself trying to falsely report me or try to tell on me. And then he got the manager to get on my case. But if it was the previous managers, that wouldn't have happened. They used to love me over there, even though that sometimes they used to perp me really bad. But as I said, there were moments when I was able to get a lot of free food there. It was like when I was in at the Ruby Slipper location, the Pensacola, Florida location of the Ruby Slipper. If sometimes they would perp me with the food or cheat me out of the food or whatever, and other times they would give me free food. So, but at the what's that pizza called? Graffiti Pizza. They used to give me, and probably they used to give a lot of the homeless free pizza. But I didn't take advantage of it every day for health reasons. I didn't want to be eating pizza every day for health reasons, But when nobody would help me with funds for food or anything, that was the last resort. And sometimes they would let me have free salad, free pizza, free bread, or free drink, free chips, free whatever I wanted. But sometimes I was just good with one slice of pizza and one drink and be satiated, or maybe one slice of pizza and or sometimes they would cheat and overcharge me and get an attitude with me with the pizza, So, but yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, it's like, but dealing with being targeted and forced homeless, you know, dealing with everything just being so rocky and unpredictable, and um, yeah, I mean, but yeah, I'm just venting and talking about my challenges with riding the buses, and like when I would when perps would bump into me and I know it's on purpose, it would trigger for me to have like a Tourette's outburst, and they think it's funny to like high school bullying all over again, think it's funny to trigger my Tourette's on purpose. And lately it seemed like instead of occasionally, it seems like every bus ride I'm getting violated by multiple perps that's low class, ignorant, and ghetto, and don't give a fuck and don't care at all. That bump into and touch me and be dirty. And um you know but there was a point in time where people would be like respectful and knew me, knew to not violate me, and respected, me dealing with my disability and stuff. But I have no choice but to be forced to ride the buses. But there was a point in time when I thought I was wrongfully banned from riding the buses in Pensacola, and they said that, come to find out after some time, I realized they said that I was never banned. So I either hardly had transportation or was taking an Uber at wherever I needed to go, or a cab at wherever I needed to go. You know, but in the dealing with gang stalking bus drivers, um, if I tell them thank you when getting off the bus, they ignore me and say nothing, or they think they're too good and got their nose turned up like they think they're better than you, or like you're lower than them. Or if I get on the bus and the bus driver that I've had altercations with, they would avoid eye contact with me. Avoid eye contact with me, or bus drivers that's immature enough that they would turn their whole face and body towards the left to avoid looking at me. They will over exaggerate, fake turning their whole body and their face and head and the whole upper body to the left to avoid looking at me when I get on the bus. After I had an altercation with a perp bus driver or something, or after I reported them for doing me something dirty to their higher ups and supervisors, or I've dealt with gang stalking situations on the bus where perps will sit in your preferred seat or favorite seat on purpose, and they refuse to get up and move and give you a hard time and cause you a meltdown, or seats that you feel the most comfortable with, excuse me, or perps that were damn, it slipped my mind. There was another one. Dang, it slipped my mind. If they were you know, oh, perp bus drivers. What's what I meant to say. Also, perp bus drivers that would do stuff like, especially if you get off at the back door, sometimes the front door. The gang stalking fake bus drivers would deliberately stop where the target is getting off at, and they would stop. Um, they would stop in front of an object, like they would stop in front of a mailbox, a garbage can, a pole, or something to where you'd be forced to squeeze and hardly have much of any space. And then they get an attitude, say, you got more than enough room. And I end up getting into altercations. Or if I'm getting on the bus or off the bus, if there's a gang stalking bus driver that will close the doors on me and as a way to physically assault me, and then try to play it off like it's accident, or they get an attitude and rush me, or like as I'm getting off the bus, they closing the doors in the middle of my body. That ought to be considered assault. But I'm glad that not every bus driver is a perp. But in Pensacola, Florida, it seemed like only 2 or 3 bus drivers weren't a perp. And that man, Mr. Jeffrey, I don't remember his last name, but Mr. Jeffrey used to drive the military bus in Pensacola. And Alex Dupree tried to get him and a black female bus driver that used to drive the military buses also. Alex Dupree tried to turn them into perps. And there was a black male bus driver from New Orleans that was driving the Pensacola bus. And he succeeded at turning that man against me. And he succeeded at turning a lot of the bus drivers against me and turning them to Masonic gang stalkers and getting the bus drivers to sell out. And Alex Dupree was obsessed with idolizing and worshiping the bus drivers and police officers. Excuse me. And he would basically tell the cops what to do to me, or tell the cops how to treat me. And same thing with the bus drivers, but at least with Alex Dupree, at least I never got arrested or I never went to jail like what Fake Darnell has done. The Alex Dupree would be the in-person stalker that would illegally swat me. And I have videos of, him harassing me on the bus and then try to reverse it and make it look like I was the one stalking and harassing him. And then the online stalkers lie and say that I'm the one that's stalking, harassing, and following Alex around, when Alex would be the one lurking around and stalking and following me, and it would be unexpected. And I wonder, how does he keep fucking finding me? I could change my routine like other targeted individuals say. Like one time I made a last minute decision to go to Winn-Dixie in Pensacola. I think it's on Bayou Boulevard in Pensacola, and Alex was there. No, like he never fucking shops there. And there was a bus that I never that I hardly take. I think it was the 51 or the 52, one of those buses. And he illegally found me on there, and the gang stalked me on those buses. I'm like, this is fucking insane. When he gang stalked me and tried to get me wrongfully, permanently, unsuccessfully tried to, when he gang stalked me out of Pensacola and illegally swatted me, and I had an emotional meltdown. And then the next day I went to Mobile, Alabama, and he got on a Greyhound, made a fake Greyhound bus trip and was going to my hometown, New Orleans. And he gang stalked me on the like they said, when you cross state lines to gang stalk, that's a felony, and it's human trafficking. And Alex Dupree tried to manipulate and try to get me wrongfully kicked out of and banned from riding the Greyhound buses. And he turned even a lot of the Greyhound passengers against me and offered them satanic sellout deals and had them gang stalking me. When I would go to the beach in Pensacola, the gang stalking bus drivers that would drive the military buses would do stuff like leave me stranded as undeserved punishment for going to the beach. Why can't I go to the beach? The beach is free. And Star Bricker had a big problem with me living in Pensacola, talking about she's living in a rich fancy beach town she can't afford. Well, I was living there before I even came across you. You don't get to control where I live at. They perked me out of my hometown, New Orleans. Then they perked me out of Pensacola. I can't go back. But the stalkers brag and admit that, oh yeah, we're gonna make sure that you're banned from everywhere and kicked out of all of New Orleans metro area. And Fake Darnell even tried to talk about, oh, we're gonna make sure you're banned from all of the whole state of Louisiana. You know, all businesses in the state of Louisiana. Well, you got that much time on your hands to call up every place, in even places like Alexandria and Monroe, Louisiana. You really got that time to do that. You really got time to call up Lafayette, Bossier City, Shreveport, and all those places. You really got time to call up Ruston, Louisiana, and every I can't even name every freaking area of Louisiana, but really, you know. And nobody wanted me living in Pensacola. And when I would go to the beach in Pensacola, they would send the gang stalking military kids to crowd around me and surround themselves around me shortly after I lay down and get my peace and quiet. And then they blaring super loud music doing a noise campaign around me. My noise campaign and heavy smoking around me. But they make sure these fucking kids think they rule me and I can't get any peace or quiet. You know, when, I mean, they would plant the kids, the military kids, the badass military kids to disrespect and abuse me, you know. But, like, my OCD got worse after being raped. Like, in 2019, I used to be able to just sit down and ride the bus. And I guess I wasn't so uptight about people bumping into and touching me. But when I got raped in 2011, in 2012, my OCD got worse. And then after some time, when 2015, 16, 17, not 17, this abusive, narcissistic, fake perp named Tracy Broadhurst, who spiritually abused me along with Lisa Ruby. Tracy had manipulated me to feel like if I didn't just snap out of my OCD, then I'm going to hell. She was a fake Christian narcissist, you know. So after the last rape that happened to me, I heard that being raped frequently is part of the human trafficking or sex trafficking when you're a targeted woman, or if you're a targeted individual, you know. And I'm like, well, that explains what all these rapes, you know. I don't go looking for being raped. I don't, you know. But I stay to myself. I don't want to be around anybody, you know. But ever since the last rape, like March 6, 2020, I mean, I've been back to being uptight like this again, you know. And it's a really hard struggle. And people think, oh, she's just crazy, you know. And people wanted to victim blame me about whatever rapes I went through, you know. That was the last rape that ever happened, or the last time anyone had penetrated me was in March 2020. Excuse me. But before that, it was like December of 2012. Yeah. So, and I had not been intimate or been with anybody, but I was sexually assaulted in 2018 by a Filipino guy in Santa Monica, part of Los Angeles. And I've been sexually assaulted on the streets like in 2021 a couple of times. You know. But I've been sexually assaulted or raped, whether being homeless or not. And when I got raped by the Freemason in 2012, the fake pastor Eric, you know, David Jane said that basically Eric falsely smear campaigned me as a prostitute. And I lived in an area where they said it was a blood gang area South Central LA. It was Section 8, that was all I could get. I tried to get a place in Westlake MacArthur Park, but they said that my income was too low for that place I was trying to get in Westlake MacArthur Park area. And I think they tried to get me a place in Leimert Park in Los Angeles, you know. But when I got raped by the Freemason, I was not homeless, but I was days of sleep deprived, and I had just joined a church, that fake Hell's Way church, recently, and just like dedicated Jesus in my heart the day before. Like, imagine, giving your life to Jesus Christ one day and then get raped the next day by a Freemason. And a lot of people say that's a test of your faith. But it took me a while to I used to pour, like when I was living in Los Angeles, I used to take, I had a hard time at the homeless shelters, and I got wrongfully kicked out of and banned from the homeless shelters because of not wanting people to touch me, and the other homeless people wanting to fight me and stuff like that. And dealing with me being around filth, like, and having severe OCD, and then being in filthy environments, and then me being told that I'm the problem, when in Union Rescue Mission, which I call Separation Torture Mission, they force us to pay to live in prison, and excuse me, the homeless shelters, you pay to stay there, and you had no freedom, pay to live in prison, and they had that fake cult called the Gateway Program, and if you weren't part of the cult, they forced you to pay to stay there, and they took all your money, and then they would do stuff like force you to use the bathroom in the dark at night, and you don't know whose piss, shit, gonorrhea fluids, or whatever you might encounter. And the men cleaning up the bathrooms, like the male prisoners or whatever, I guess they were too grossed out to even clean the bathroom, so it'd be other people's period blood, gonorrhea fluids, vomit, pee, piss, shit, vomit, gonorrhea fluids, whatever. You know, it was horrifying, a horrifying, traumatizing nightmare. You know, so thankfully, I'm glad that with me being older, I'm glad that I don't have to worry about people taking advantage of my money much, even family taking advantage of my money that much, or me having to deal with people raping me sexually or taking advantage of my money that much. Like using me and taking advantage, It doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to when I was younger, you know. But I didn't realize that the last guy that raped me had a long criminal history, kind of such at a young age. And I was trying all I can to avoid, you know. But I didn't realize he was a perp as well. And he was narcissistic and controlling and pretty much a freaking sociopath. Criminal sociopath. And I was raped by a burnt guy, and that was the last time, And the grandma kicked me out of his house. Kicked me out of her house, you know. I spent all night trying to fight him off of me, and he took advantage of it being very cold outside and me having nowhere to go because I was wrongfully kicked out of and banned from the Inslee First Baptist Church in Pensacola, Florida. So, like, I have not been able to recover, ever since then, and pills won't help. Pills will not help, you know. And it's like when people do you fucked up or messed up or narcissistic abuse or rape or taking advantage, you know, it's like, why is it always the so-called victim or sufferer that has to be the one that needs therapy? Why isn't the predator, you know, why doesn't the predator need therapy or jail time or prison time? Excuse me. And when I got raped by the Freemason in 2012, you know, none of the police wanted to help, and I got victim blamed by a whole bunch of people and a bunch of organizations. Even the following year, everybody laughing in my face saying I deserve it. And I'm like, wow, I'm at church and y'all say y'all Christians and this is how y'all do me? You know, or you tell me I'm going to go to hell for not forgiving the rapist? Like, you won't even give me a chance to process through this, you know. But come to find out, the fake pastor who told me I'm going to hell for not forgiving the rapist, he was a child predator. He was a freaking predator. And I heard that he'd been exposed for exploiting homeless people. He was a former criminal in and out of prison and stuff like that. That fake Hell's Way church, you know. But it seemed like the closer I got to God, that's the harder that I would get attacked, even by other so-called Christians. Excuse me, if I try to link up and fellowship with other Christians, whether physically in church or on an online forum, I get devoured and viciously attacked. So I have not even tried to link up with other professed Christians. I just stay to myself. You know, I don't even try to get close to people no more, or try to make friends or try to talk to people. But doing my YouTube live streams or regular videos, it helps me feel, if I'm not being harassed and stalked, you know, for me to have supportive people to listen to me and talk to me, and for me to try to support y'all and listen to and talk to y'all too. If we all could just vent together, or even talk about the good things too, no matter how big or small, you know, help me feel better. But I've had certain times where I feel like everybody ganging up on me and bullying me in my own live stream, and I'm like, oh, y'all supposed to be supporters, you know. But sometimes it's a fake infiltrator perp that set everything up with fake new accounts that pretend to be supportive, and then they try to say something to sabotage and manipulate everybody to go against me, you know. So I'm thankful and glad that I had the actual time and opportunity to vent about this topic right now. It's Sunday. It is Sunday, March 30th, 2025. It's 7:51 p.m. in the evening. I haven't eaten dinner yet, but it's the biological sister Belinda's birthday. You know, this was my only opportunity I was able to freely vent, to talk about you know, the bus situation and social situations with people and everything, you know. And it's not just the bus, you know, it could be at other places. You know, and I hate that the gang stalkers traumatize me, and what gang stalking and narcissistic abuse from cults excuse me, in the mind control, where I ended up being forced to be homeless while I suffer severe OCD, and being homeless, suffering homeless. Like, you put me in environments where I'm forced to have to be around filth and dirt. In the public, you never get to be clean or comfortable, you know. But if they put me in a predicament where I'm forced to live a life where I cannot be by myself, or I can't be clean, or I can't work or earn and make my own living through my writings or even selling things or whatever, you know, or through my YouTube videos or whatever the stalkers are talking about, trying to stop my small little YouTube income. They're trying to stop that too. I mean, if someone Cash at me $1 and the stalkers find out about it, they will have a big conniption meltdown. But I saw fake ass Cindy went back to making videos about me and harassing and stalking and bullying me again and threatening me and then lying on me and saying that I'm stalking and harassing and threatening people. She popped up on my feed on one of my other channels. And I'm like, yeah, that was a gang stalking plant that they wanted to force me to see that. You know, and Cindy is telling me to mind my own business when she's meddling in my, like the stalkers always meddle in my business to tell me to mind my own business when me being gang stalked is my fucking business. What the fuck? Like, you mind your business. I don't even know you. I mean, I don't even know y'all stalkers, you know. Excuse me. So I figured maybe Cindy must have had to do some satanic rituals in order to get back forgiven by the gang stalkers and be back in their good graces to begin bullying me again. You know. So I have another video topic to talk about that I hope I can talk about and vent. And I don't know if these videos will be uploaded today or tomorrow, or tonight or tomorrow. But I'm trying to not throw too much on y'all all at once. So, yeah, I'm thankful and glad to be just like venting and talking uninterrupted. And that's like emotional release. You know, emotional release and so-called therapy, you know. But I have another topic to talk about. I'm hoping that I can talk about it tonight or before bed, after my shower maybe. And I don't know if I will live stream tonight, but it's still Sunday right now. And so I'm going to go. It's 7:55 right now. I'm about to go and eat the leftovers for dinner. And, you know, whatever y'all could help me with, if I could get help with a hotel room or a motel. I'm sorry, another hotel night here for tomorrow for me to rest and stay out of the rain. That would be great. That would be awesome. Tuesday, I'm not sure if it's supposed to rain, but tomorrow's supposed to be pretty bad all day. So it would be great and nice if I could get another help with another night, so I won't have to go throughout and out and about and go to the library when it's storming. So I love y'all. Keep me in your prayers. I'm trying to fight to stay strong and not give up. And I'll see y'all next video or live stream.